If many Americans won the lottery tomorrow, the first thing they would do is fill up their gas tank. I'm not sure that President Biden understands that. The Biden administration claims that they are for the little gal or the little guy, but they sure don't seem to like them very much. I can't imagine a more pernicious tax than inflation. This inflation, which has characteristics of both demand pull and cost push inflation, is a direct result of President Biden's economic policies. President Biden, of course, denies that. President Biden has blamed inflation on COVID. President Biden has blamed inflation on low unemployment. President Biden has blamed inflation on greedy businesswomen and greedy businessmen. As one commentator put it, I expect President Biden next to say that inflation originated in a bat. But it didn't. It began with the economic policies of the president. What can we as members of Congress do about it? Well, we can't force the members of the Biden administration to retake Econ 101, but we can do our part by stopping spending like we were drunken sailors. Actually, we're worse than drunken sailors, because drunken sailors stop spending when they run out of money, and Congress doesn't. And we can help by changing our ways in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Rick Scott, then Senator Sullivan.
So consumer prices up 7.5% and producer prices up 9.7%. Now, in my state, it's having a devastating impact on families. I grew up in a poor family. I watched my mom struggle with inflation. When I was a kid, she would take in odd jobs, whatever money she had. Either my older brother and I would go to the store. We had to add up without a calculator exactly how much things were going to cost, or we had to do the embarrassing thing and say, oh, I don't have enough money, and say, you have to put that back on the shelf. I watched my mom struggle to buy gas, put food on the table. Now the stories I'm getting all across my state is the same thing. People are going to food banks that never went to food banks before. People are taking second and third odd jobs just to try to make ends meet. People have to pool where they live. Food's up, gas is up, rent's up. And it's all caused by bad economic policy. So if you look at inflation, what causes inflation? One, excess spending causes inflation. Number two, make it difficult for people to produce things. When you increase the permitting time, make it difficult to get a permit, say you can't drill for oil, things like that, prices go up. When you add all this regulatory attitude, when you're a business guy, and I was in business, they make it difficult to do business. You don't produce things, or you don't produce things in this country. That's exactly what the Biden administration is doing. So all across my state, people are hurting. The Biden administration has no plan. They have no plan to change. I can't see any way this is going to get better until the Biden administration and Democrats stop spending money, stop making it difficult to open and build a business, stop making it difficult to run a business. But until that time, many, many people across my state are going to get hurt.
Senator Sullivan.
Well, I think you're seeing one theme here, and it's the theme of it's the policies stupid. Just in the last couple days, you saw 4 very vulnerable Democrat senators put forward a bill to reduce the gas tax. You saw President Biden yesterday hold a press conference where he said he's going to go around the world to try and encourage countries that produce energy to produce more energy. But here's what you never hear from the Democrats, and you certainly never hear from this president. We're going to support the American energy sector. That is a policy that you've heard from every senator here almost today that would work. And instead, the policies inside of a year that we have seen with this administration are now becoming legendary on how anti-American energy they are. They're stopping the production and making it harder to produce American energy while at the same time begging OPEC to produce more. We're importing twice as much oil from Russia today than we were at the end of the Trump administration. They are stopping and killing energy infrastructure like Keystone XL. They are going to financial institutions in America, encouraging them not to invest in American energy. And they're putting forward executive branch and other officials like the new Fed nominee, Ms. Raskin, who I'm going to meet with right after this press conference, who have said that the Fed's job should be to choke off capital to the American energy sector. These are the policies and the predictable result. Higher energy prices on working families, pink slips for American energy workers, I'm seeing that in Alaska, and empowering our adversaries like Putin. This is national security suicide in terms of American energy policies. Winston Churchill once said, "To build may have to be the slow and laborious task of years. To destroy can be the thoughtless act of a single day." This administration inherited a long-term bipartisan goal that we have been seeking as Americans for decades, American energy independence. And what they've done in a single day, is they've sought to destroy that. It makes no sense for American people, for inflation, for national security, and they really need to get their boot off the neck of American energy producers. That will help dramatically solve these inflation problems.
Clean up.
Thank you, Senator. Let me just say what Senator Portman was too kind to say about the impact on inflation around our country, and specifically in places like Ohio and South Carolina and so many other states around the country. In 1982, the inflation rate this month was 7.5%. If you want to know who's going to win the Super Bowl, all you got to do is to look back at 1982 and realize that in 2022, 40 years later, the inflation rate is 7.5%. The last time the Bengals lost a Super Bowl, inflation was 7.5%. Some thought it was because of the Rams receiver, Mr. Cup. Others thought it was because of the defensive player, Mr. Donald. The truth of the matter is that the impact of inflation even cost the Bengals the Super Bowl. You agree?
I totally agree.
I thought you would, sir. I thought you would. Yes, exactly. To a more serious point, I was talking to Mom, Michelle, over the weekend. Her gas prices are up in South Carolina nearly 50% over the last 12 months. Her pay is up 4%, 10 times more expensive for gas for a mom with 2 kids. I spoke with Brian, a newlywed, looking forward to the promise of the American dream, trying to find the down payment for a home. But the pay that he is seeing is going down based on the spending power of his dollars going down precipitously. We can talk about the transitory nature of inflation. We could talk about the growth or the lack thereof of our GDP. But the truth of the matter is that the Democrats and Mr. Biden, President Biden, continue to ask the American people to believe what he is saying as opposed to what they are seeing. They are seeing the loss of spending power because they can't afford the price of gas per gallon. They are seeing the challenges of experiencing and achieving the American dream because they simply can't afford a down payment on a house. We can do better for the American people. This is not about Republicans, not even about Democrats. It's about our neighbors, the American people. Mr. President, we ask you to do a better job.